Oh, there you are, YouTube. I just watched Cruella on Disney Plus, and I'm going to be like I just watched it, so I'm getting my opinion formulated right now as I talk to the camera, as I talk to you, trying to figure out. My initial reaction was, "Hey, that was good," but I also have like the initial reaction of that movie relied way too heavily on songs to score the film. I don't usually like when movies do that, and this one does it very heavily. If you're going to use music or songs, actual songs in your film, I want it to be diegetic, coming from a source or something that could be logically understood as diegetic, but maybe isn't fully. Kind of like American Graffiti, like that movie. It's like the music is scoring the film, but sometimes it's coming from radios and like car radios, and you're like, where is this coming from? What's the source? Another movie where I like it is Can't Hardly Wait, that 90s teen party movie. Each room that characters walk into usually has a different song playing in it, and I think it's done well there. I think it's done well in Armageddon because it's not overly done. It's like score and songs well balanced, and I don't think it's well balanced in Cruella. I don't think it's well balanced in I guess you would like American Graffiti or Can't Hardly Wait, but the way it's done to where it could be considered diegetic, I think that is interesting. Where this one is just like, hey, you recognize this song, don't you? We're putting it in this movie, and you will probably like the scene because you know the song. But the movie itself is good as well, so I don't think they needed all of these songs that they added to it. Like stuff by, Rolling Stones were in there, and I think, I don't know, I need to rehear that song. It's the one where she combs her hair, that song. I feel like they were just playing a verse over and over again, and not like the whole song, but it's been a long time since I've listened to that song all the way through, so it could be the song, but it almost like they were skipping a record or something. But yeah, it was just way too heavy on songs scoring the film. I think there's only maybe one moment where Cruella is working as a janitor, and she's like, I don't know, got a bunch of trash, cleaning up trash or something like that. And the song that we are hearing that's scoring the movie, she's like mouthing to herself. And I guess the way that could be interpreted is that's like her internal diegetic, like she's hearing that song in her head and singing along with it. But again, I just didn't like the way the music was done, even though I like those songs. It's like, oh, I like this song. This is a nice song. But did we have to use it right here? I think a score would have been a little bit better, because it just seems like it's like dressing on a salad. Dressing on a salad is good, but maybe not always necessary. I don't know. But then you're just eating lettuce. But I think the movie was good enough. The salad was good enough that it didn't need the extra dressing. Maybe it was cranberries. You have the salad, you have the dressing, it's all fine, but then you're going to add cranberries to it also, or sesame seeds. It's just, you didn't need to go that far. It was fine the way it was. So that's kind of how I feel about the music. I'm just thinking about this out loud. I could change my mind later. But the music, overdone, too much of it. I think maybe there should have been more score. 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon, was, like, growing up, probably outside of the Disney Renaissance, so like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King, like those are my favorite Disney movies. Those four, I always say they are tied for number one. I then will say like 101 Dalmatians is number two, even though it would be like number five. But I really liked watching that one growing up. So, but what's weird is, well, I feel I have a connection to that movie. The live action ones with Glenn Close, I don't really have a connection with. I watched the first one. I don't think I ever saw the second one. And I just didn't care. It was just kind of like I watched it and that was it. But, this movie could be that way. I don't necessarily think so, because I recognize this movie is better than that first live action one, at least to me. So, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna revisit this movie. I could if like my kids like it, you know. Like again, I liked this movie. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I was laughing. I thought a lot of it was great, but it, you know, I'm not gonna sing its praises to the mountaintops. It's one of those, oh, that was good, and then you go on with your life, sort of thing. My buddy Garage Movie Club on YouTube just had a video out where he was talking about Disney like remakes and things like that. I know this is sort of like more like a prequel, but you know, like the live action versions of cartoons. Again, this is sort of a prequel, but he was talking about The Lion King and how that movie wasn't necessarily trying to be a good movie, but a movie that's trying to create a dialogue for people to just talk about when they're at work or just online or around the water cooler at school or whatever. And I feel like this movie is also doing that, but I think it's dog, or I don't have a dog, cat hair. I think maybe it's my hair. I just got a haircut today. That's probably what that was. But I think this movie's sort of doing the same thing. I think it's better than The Lion King, like more interesting. But those dialogues of asking the question, do you like this more than the animated movie? Or do you think this one is better? Who's the better Cruella? The animated, the Glenn Close, or Emma Stone? You know, asking those sorts of questions. What do you think about, you know, the ending? How can this character that we saw in this movie turn into the one that we see in the animated movie? Because that's what's boggling my mind. Like when you look at the ending, how, like, sure, she's mad and bad, but I don't know if she's necessarily evil when you consider what happened to her. She's more just revenge filled. So how does she go from pulling off this amazing caper and then in 101 Dalmatians, like the animated movie, like let's say that's the sequel, you know, like this is the prequel to that movie. Let's say that that is what's going on. How does that person become somebody who can kill dogs or have dogs killed for her to make coats? You know, like what she did in this movie in Cruella was a massive scale crime, and in 101 Dalmatians, the animated, it's very small stuff that she's doing, right? It's just back alley skinning dogs and having them turned into coats. So, I don't know. It's kind of sad. Like when you think of where she is at the end of this movie, she has, or I guess to you it's probably over here, just a major decline from this prequel to the to the animated version. Did I ever finish my thought with what I was talking about? Yeah, so Garage Movie Club. I feel like this is one of those movies where you can have those conversations of like compare and contrast. And I think you're right. That's probably what Disney was aiming for here, and maybe trying to create a franchise. And you also talked about Joker. I'm like talking to him now, but I'm talking to everybody. He had mentioned Joker and the different dialogues that were being had over that movie. I feel like could also exist in this movie, because I was getting all sorts of like superhero vibes. Like it was kind of like a Batman movie if Batman went like on an evil path, on a bad guy path in a way. Like we had the whole, you know, sort of Bruce Wayne versus Batman, you know, thing happening in Cruella a little bit, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think it's an interesting movie. It's just the music. That's what got to me. But yeah, I can see this functioning well as a compare and contrast film to everything that already exists. And I think they are probably going to make sequels. It seemed like it was set up for sequels. Or it was just like setting up to be like, hey, the animated one is the sequel. So, you know, that line she has at the end, that's referring to the animated one that you've seen. But yeah, still, like, I don't know, I like it, and I think it's a good movie. I just wish the the music wasn't overdone. Horace and Jasper, they were great. Like, they were funny in the cartoon, and they're much more sophisticated in this one. And good people. I mean, I guess they you could see them as good people in the animated one, and they're just being overrun by Cruella. And we see they have like full arcs. Like, they are good people just trying to survive, like Aladdin, and then they, turn into submissive criminals under Cruella. Like, they used to just be a three. What is that word? Three people. A trinity. I don't know. Not a duo. What are three people called? They were a tripod. I don't know. They were three people working together, and then it soon became Cruella telling them what to do, and it was great seeing their shift fully. That was a good move. I'm trying to remember the actor's name. Paul Walter Hauser. There it is. Write it down there. He's great. He was in that Richard Jenkins movie. He was in Black Klansman. I don't know what the Tanya. Tanya. He's great. He is fantastic, and I really love him in this movie. I mean, I think everything he's done has been pretty good, but I thought he was exceptional in this. I don't know. I shouldn't say exceptional, because I feel like everything he's doing is that way. But he was nice. He was nice to see. Good comic relief. There's a lot of good comic relief in this movie, I'd say. And arcs for everybody. Everybody feels very fully fleshed out. So again, I'm very positive on this movie. I like this movie. It's kind of long. I don't know if that's a problem. I think it could be for a kid, but I don't know. I was watching long, children's movies, and it really, I think, again, I've said it probably 8 times. My only problem is the music, but that's like right now. Maybe later it won't bother me, but it kind of is like a pet peeve of mine when music is used to score a movie a lot, heavily, and there's no diegetic explanation that could go along with it. But we do get that scene of internal diegetic, so I don't know. It was just kind of heavy-handed. That's all. It was kind of heavy-handed. But overall, I am pro this movie. It was much better than I was expecting. When I was online, I was seeing reviews that were from "it's great" to "it's amazing." And I was like, huh? How's that? I just didn't expect that. And I get why people like it. I'm one of them. I'm one of the people that like this movie. But I'm pretty easy to please. I like most movies. I don't like Human Centipede 2. That's one of the few movies I don't like. But yeah, Cruella, Cruella's a good one. Human Centipede 2 is not a good one. So on that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this vlog, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.